I'm here with David Rees. David, tell me a little bit about your day's ride.
It was actually really good. It's a fun ride today. We're down here in Georgia, some of the Georgia clay. Out in the Pines riding today, and new kingquad 450 was really fun to ride. For the first time on a quad, I felt very comfortable. Felt like I'd been riding it all along, you know. And got to try out the new back brake that I thought worked really well. The sealed and oil back brake, which worked whenever I needed it, no matter how much mud we went through. Always had brakes. And went through some really steep downhills. The engine braking was there without me even knowing it. I didn't realize that it was kicking in on its own, but every time you go down a hill, the engine braking's there for you. We hit some trails today that were really steep and rocky and slimy, and the thing was really hooked up and steered real well, tight conditions. And compared to the 700 kingquad, it felt a lot lighter, even though they're basically the same weight. The 450 feels a lot lighter and a lot easier to ride physically than the 700. It steers a lot better. Center of gravity was really something that played a part in it too. It was real low center of gravity with the gas tank being below the seat and the 48-degree angle on the motor, the piston. Definitely could feel the difference. The quad didn't seem to have any problems soaking up any of the jumps, no matter how high we sailed it. Put it 5-6 feet in the air off of one particular mound that we found, landed on one wheel, and just soaking it up. Going through the rocks, it was really good. It steered real well, tracked, you know, when you're on the gas, on the slimy rocks, it went the directions that I was pointing it, you know.
What was the difference in handling between 2 and 4-wheel drive?
2 and 4-wheel drive, you definitely notice without the front wheels pulling. Use the back brake with it in 4-wheel drive. It stops really, really quick. You know, because when you hit the back brake, all 4 wheels are braking essentially when you're 4-wheel drive. 2-wheel drive, you do notice it doesn't stop quite as much because you're only hitting the back brake and getting the back brakes. You're not stopping all 4 wheels, but it was actually quite well in 2-wheel drive, in tight trails, up hills, in the mud. It actually went pretty good for a big heavy machine.
How about the foot pegs and the seat and ergonomics of it?
Ergonomics was great. Me being a challenge rider as far as height goes, physically 5'4", so standing on the pegs and being able to really hang off to one side and still use the brake, stuff like that, the foot brake, it's definitely ergonomically correct. And to find the button, the override button, for when you want to go fast in reverse, or if you have the front diff locked, my finger was right on it. We had a couple tries that I could go full speed in reverse without thinking about it. And
how was the differential lock?
The differential lock made it seem like you could go anywhere. With all 4 wheels locked, you know, I don't think there's anything that you couldn't go up with it, or anything you couldn't pull with it.
Ground clearance, did you notice that at all?
And ground clearance was okay. I didn't have any problems bottoming out or anything like that anywhere.
How'd you find the suspension?
Suspension's awesome. The independent suspension. Being somebody that's rode a solid axle quad for a long time, getting on an independent rear suspension, it felt great. I didn't have any problems with it leaning or diving down or anything like that, and it soaked up the bumps really well. On the new kingquad 450, it has an automatic transmission with the V-belt drive system. You can select either high or low range with this transmission. In high range, if you're just out riding trails, wanting to have fun, it's wonderful. Plenty of power whenever you need it. Plenty of power from low end to top end. It's hard to even tell that it's an automatic transmission. It seems to be always in the right gear whenever you need it. And in the low range, it seems like it could pull anything. You can definitely tell the difference when you put it in low. It has a lot more grunt and a lot more torque to the ground. The way to put it in gear is to grab the front brake or the rear brake. As long as one or the other is depressed, you can easily grab the shift mechanism and shift it from high to low, or to any gear, reverse, neutral, wherever you need to select. To start the kingquad 450, you can start it in gear simply by having the back brake depressed, and it will start in gear. And after it's started, you can shift to any gear at any time without pulling in a brake or any kind of buttons or anything. It's seamless shifting from high to low to reverse to neutral. On the new kingquad 450, there's some great storage features. In the front, accessible while you're in the seated position, there's a sealed storage compartment. Simple half turn with a cap. You can access that storage. You can put a cell phone or anything of value in there that you don't want to get wet and don't have to worry about it. And the fact that you can reach it while you're sitting down without getting off the quad or standing up or anything is really a great feature. And then there's also storage in the rear, like most quads have always had, that is susceptible to getting wet or muddy, but it's mainly your tool storage and things like that. My overall summary of the kingquad 450 is just a wonderful bike. For the money, I don't think you could buy anything better for all the features you get with it. It's got basically everything the 700 quad has, except a little less power, which I can live without, being a smaller person, and all the hills and everything that were back there. The 450 seemed to climb without bogging down. You know, just as well going through the trails as the 700 as far as power goes.